All right, welcome Hard Knocks, KK the Destroyer, coming at you live from the ESPN 8 studio. And with me, as always, is Crazy Greggy.
Hello guys, how's it going? How was your Thanksgiving? I hope it was bomb.
I had leftovers tonight, if that counts. It was pretty great. Turkey, gravy, mashed potatoes, not bad. So here we are, coming at you, Season 3, and what I would say is a pretty epic start to Season 3. I feel like we're really moving along with a great pace, which is refreshing from last year, where I think we died out about Season 3. So,
After season 3, we didn't play another season.
yeah, I mean, I think we started Season 3, and I think that just was a testament to how bad the game was. And this year's does seem to be quite a bit better, but obviously not without its own problems. As was clear earlier today in chat, people were talking about the abilities that are OP and how it's giving, some lesser skilled players advantage to stay in games, which this wasn't necessarily a topic that I had even thought about bringing up until I started rambling on like I do. What
Artist.
yeah, Escape Artist would definitely be, probably in my view, the worst one of all.
Yeah. And I play it all the time in fun.
Yeah, I mean, Mutt is a whole nother
They
animal.
can make an average quarterback great just because of the scramble at the speed of light.
Yeah. But, I mean, as far as all the other abilities go, I haven't really seen anything that I felt was like, oh my god, here we go again, you know? Well, Armbar was earlier this year, but it's not a thing anymore, is it?
I think it is, but like Jim Brown.
Yeah.
Uh,
Right. I mean, we don't have those players. I mean, like,
Right. Oh yeah, like in the league. I think
in our
Jim
league.
Brown's might be able to do it.
yeah, I mean, that's like the
Unless
only
one of the
thing.
If the offensive lineman, if one of them has nasty streak, that could be pretty good, but I don't know.
Yeah, I haven't really seen anything that I view as being super OP. I mean, even the things like, the ones that are win in 1v1 scenarios. I mean, sure, those do happen quite a bit, but it's not like I've ever seen it be more than it ever was before. So, I don't know.
Well, that post route.
Yeah.
Bengals have two guys with that post route mastery or whatever the hell it is.
Mm-hmm.
And I've had defenders get in perfect position, prime position, and somehow the guy will make the catch. And it'll be like a run after catch. So he'll make the catch. My guys are in position, and he'll bust for the touchdown. Yeah, it
So-
happened twice.
Yeah, that might be one of those abilities that may be a bit overpowered that I haven't really seen. I know I've played the Bengals once. That was in the AFC Championship, and I did feel like there were scenarios where I was in good position, and he still came down with it, and so maybe that
Which is part of
was.
the game, though. I mean, I'm not blaming the Bengals for that.
No, for sure, and that's kind of what I'm getting at. Is like I do feel like in a way it's almost giving players the ability to bag on one other thing, as a reason that they're losing. Is like every year we always complain about the things like, oh my god, when Odell Beckham was the cover athlete, it's like, oh my god, 1v1 catches are crazy, and then now it's like, oh, there's abilities now, so now it's crazy. When really it's probably just the game has always been just this bad, and it's just now we have something we can directly point to. It's like, oh, it's got to be these new abilities, these X Factor abilities. But
Right.
anyhow, we digress. We go from our planned topics to another topic. So, what we'll do is we'll go ahead and jump through the standings real briefly, kind of take a look at each division. So we'll start in your division, Greg, AFC North. You're 4-1. Bengals right there at 4-2. Obviously, you've had your bye. He has not. You took a loss to the Bengals this past 2 weeks ago.
Yep, I sure did.
How do you feel about that?
I was up for most of the game. Late stages of the game, my offense kind of died out.
I would say you were heated.
Yeah, I was ready. But
Yeah.
it happens. I lose in butt traps all the time with no abilities, and I get heated.
Right. I get heated when I'm. Just ask my brother. I get heated when I'm winning the game. Like, I mean, that's just the way it is. Like, things go bad, and I'm just like, oh, that's stupid. I hate this game. So.
Yep. I'm the same way.
Yeah. So Bengals 4-2, obviously playing well. Steelers 2-3, Ravens 3-3. So Mike, actually not doing too bad at 3-3.
Yeah, better than last year.
Yeah, it does seem that way. Surprising given the fact that he's got Lamar, one of the most OP characters in the game. But seems like your division's tough, so you guys are kind of keeping them locked down. What's the?
Yeah, my division was easy. I shouldn't say that. I mean, it was easier until this new Bengals guy joined, and now all of a sudden I'm finding myself losing in division.
Yeah, so Mike is sitting at 2 division losses right now, and then you with the 1. So Bengals that technically has a leg up, but anyhow, I think this division is definitely going to be tough going forward. AFC South is like in the tank right now with Mikey of the Texans 2-3, the Colts 3-3, which is McGreatness having a pretty good season. And then who's this Jaguars owner that's 2-3? Is that a new guy?
Not showing up making this game.
Oh man, I think that's Rocky. That's ridiculous. And then we got the new 1-4 Titans coming in. So is that Slick Wills?
Yeah, that is Slick.
Yeah, so he should bring some life to this division. Obviously, he's not very far back at all, so he's got an ability to win this division if he wants.
Are you on the menu? They're saying your menu noise is really loud.
My menu noise. Oh, I could probably change that. Let's see. How do I fix that? Let's see. Is it the music or is it... Oof. I don't know. Which one is it? I need help. The background music. Okay. Let's see. I think I'll have to... Yeah, I was going to say. Alright. Here's what I'll do. Alright, so... Is it in settings? Where am I at? Oh, that's what it is. Okay, I got it. Yeah, I got to back out of franchise. I gotcha. And then do this.
None of my... Do you have game sound coming through your TV or something?
I do.
That's why it hears it. I've got it, so all games.
Oh, so
through my headset.
So should I just turn it down here? Let's try this. How about now? Any better?
I don't have an answer yet. I'm waiting. Technical difficulties.
Right. There we go. Yeah, I was trying to get to this before.
He says better.
Okay, there we go. All right. Let's see. Go back to the standings. Here we are. And where did we leave off? The AFC South, which we pretty much went over. AFC East, the Bills 3-2, Jets 3-2. Not a real big surprise there.
That's
Jabbar.
a tough division, those two.
Yeah, Jabbar 2-3. I mean, he's not doing too bad, but I feel like he's taking a loss that's gonna hurt him at the end. I don't remember who it was to. And
You know these guys that started off the first season really strong?
Mhm.
The Patriots, the Texans. Like, what happened to them?
yeah,
Just drop off the face of the earth? What's going on here?
yeah, exactly. I think it's just one of those things. Like people can start strong, and then once everybody gets a feel for the game and see how it plays, then people start really separating themselves. Yeah. So that's a pretty easy division at that point. You know, I mean they're pretty well established, and then you got the AFC West, 4-1 for myself. The Chiefs 5-1, haven't had their bye, and then to that point the Broncos 1-5. You know they had a strong first season, and then
They
I
struggled
believe,
this year.
yeah, I believe they missed playoffs last year, and starting off 1-5. I mean, he's in a bad way.
Not a good way. Yeah, that's not a good way to start, especially
Yeah,
in an AFC. That's pretty tough.
for sure. And then the Raiders 0-5, not a huge surprise. Top five pick the last couple years. He's still
And
trying
he
to get it
played me
figured out.
tough.
Yeah, I
Like,
watched half that game. I mean,
yeah, he
he's
played
usually
me
pretty
tough like
good
the
for
first
about.
half.
Absolutely, he's good for about a half.
And then the mistakes he started piling on some mistakes. And it was
Yeah,
just, and I don't know if you were you commentating it. I was laying down. I could have housed like 2 pick
I
sixes,
believe
and it
what
was
I
just
was.
like,
I was like, what are you doing here? You don't have to fall down on pick sixes. You got to take those points to the house. Those are defensive experience points right there.
that's true. I didn't
Yeah.
even think about that.
And then you got the NFC North with Jordan Benson at 2-3, Joe at two
This
and
is the
three.
this is the bad division of the league, and it's been that way since year one.
Yeah,
It just is not a good division.
yeah. I mean, nobody has a winning record right now. The Lions are rolling straight into the dumpster. That's that is
Straight to the
Ilstein. Yeah, and
dumpster.
then we got Coach at 1-4. I think he needs to change his name from Coach to like Waterboy or something
Yeah.
because you
You
cannot
know,
go
I
1-4.
I honestly think that since his first season, I don't think he's around as much.
He hasn't been. I know he
Like
said
he's got
he,
school and stuff.
yeah, he said he got a promotion or something, so he's been busy. But I mean, he's made his games and he's played them reasonably tough, but he just can't get a win. So I don't
Yeah,
know.
he's 1-4, but look at his points, 4 points against. It's better than everybody else in the division.
That is true. So maybe his current schedule has been tougher.
Yeah,
Is
could
that
be.
entirely
I haven't looked
possible?
at it, but
I mean, based on
definitely.
that or his defense is horrible.
His team. It's true.
One of the two.
Yeah.
And then you go to the NFC South. You got the Panthers 6-0, one of the only unbeaten teams left in the
There's
league
only
at
like
this point.
three, and they're all NFC.
Yeah, speaks to how bad the NFC is, right?
They're getting better. You notice the new players we're adding are going to the NFC.
Yeah,
So the bad players, the ones that weren't any good in the NFC, are quitting, and we're
right.
adding talent to the NFC. So, I'm not ashamed to say it right now. The NFC has better players than the AFC does.
I would definitely agree with that at this point.
Yeah,
That's what it looks like. I mean, I think one
it's
division
incredible.
has three really good players.
Yeah, yeah.
So, uh,
And I think the NFC South. God bless Jules Hart, but I think the Falcons, Saints, and Panthers they're all pretty good too.
yeah, they are
They're-
really good, and it's not showing up in their records at 3-2 and 3-2. But they're both talented teams. I mean, you got
well, I think they're
Jernigan as the
beating up on each
Falcons.
other.
I think you're right. And then you got freshly baked buns, who's the Saints at 3-2, and
He made the playoffs last year with the comp, not the championship, but the divisional round. I think the Saints made. It's crazy.
yeah, I mean the Panthers are killing it right now, 3-0 in division, and the Falcons and the Panthers are both 1-1. So, I mean, the Panthers are in the driver's seat there.
Panthers lost to Penn, I think, right in the NFC Championship. Panthers.
Um, I would assume that would be my best guess, because yeah, definitely not from the North. And then, I mean, the Seahawks were in there too.
Hmm.
So who did they lose to?
I can't remember. I think he ended up playing Penn.
Hmm.
I can't even remember. It's been like weeks ago now.
I know. So then we moved to the NFC East. You got the Giants, which is Big Atismo, 5-0. Looks like he bided his time early last year, and then drafted well, and then decided to just come out and just lay down the beat stick on people.
I don't even know who this guy. He's been in the league for 2 seasons now, but I didn't think he was very good, to be honest with you.
Yeah, so
Yeah,
not
he's
entirely.
just coming out here and laying people out. It's incredible.
It is incredible. He's dominating the division right now, and then you got the Cowboys, who is Nova too cold.
And I mean, he's pretty good. I think he's purposely working with a worse team, like a not as good team. I think he gave some didn't give his best players away, but traded some of his best
I mean,
players away. And I think he's having fun building.
yeah, he gave Zeke away, but then he just picked up McCaffrey, but he doesn't seem to be using him at all. Not quite like the way the Panthers were before him. So, not really sure what he's up to. Points for and
Yeah.
against are basically the same, so he's 3-3. And then you got Ipman 2-4. Uh, you know,
Danny.
yeah, doing his job. I mean, nobody's picked his tight end Knox for a while. They all kind of be migrating to the Bills Knox.
Yeah.
So that's too bad. And then you got the new Eagles owner who just beat me last week. It was a good game. We were definitely tight the whole way, and then I just made a couple of really bad interceptions late. Made some just not great mistakes. So he's definitely a solid owner coming in, and like you said, I mean they're all migrating to the NFC. So
Yeah, I'm wondering if he's gonna make a push for a wild card spot this year.
he
He's
very
won
well
both his
could.
games.
I mean, he could eliminate Nova. I mean, he's only a game behind him. I mean,
Yeah, that's another tight division. I feel
it
bad for
is.
Danny. I mean, I watched you play the first half of the Eagles game, and it was
Yeah,
like you said, it was tight. It was a
it
good game.
was.
I could tell he was talented.
Yeah, you could tell he
And
knew how to play.
I
Um,
mean, Danny could be in for a long season.
the
The
one,
Cowboys are good, and the Giants are good.
yeah, the one saving grace for the Cowboys is he is 2-1 in division, where the Eagles are 1-3. So depending on where those losses come, he might wind up, beating him out by division losses.
True.
So bringing us to the NFC West, the best division in Hard Knocks. You
Bow
got
down to this division.
yeah, penalty 5-0. The Seahawks, which is his name is escaping me. Who is the Seahawks?
Not JJ. It's
You're thinking JoJo is running back.
yeah.
My bad, Seahawks. I'm not looking at it right now. But he's 4-1.
King Harris.
King Harris, yeah. The redheaded stepchild to the 49ers, really. I mean, guy is a beast in that division, and always has to deal with penalty.
Mm-hmm.
And then you got Rams, which is flying sky high, comes in, scoops up
Really good.
yeah, comes in, scoops up a sweet Rams team with no real moves from an owner or multiple owners that could not get a win, and comes in 5-1 first season. Like, look out.
Mm-hmm.
Flying Sky High is gonna be just fine. And then
He's always been solid too.
Yeah, he's
we've had
been
him in our league. Yeah.
been in our leagues off and on for the past few years, so he's a welcome addition. And then you have Cy, 1-4, toughest division in the league. Like, sorry, dude.
We
It's
love
bad
you,
luck.
but
Yep.
yeah, he's 0-3 in division. He's probably lost to each one of these teams, and that's
Yeah.
just how it's going to be.
What is
Wouldn't be surprised if he
interesting
finishes 0-6.
is so the Cardinals has had to play everybody in their division so far, and then the Seahawks are the only other one to have to play and lose to an interdivision rival.
The Seahawks haven't played everyone in the division yet.
No. So that's why all these records are so good.
Yeah.
It's because they haven't played each other yet, and Cy's coming out the gate having to play 3 of his division opponents.
But
Poor guy.
the fact that those three have to play each other, that really hurts, because I could see all three of those teams making the playoffs, but the fact that they have to beat up on each other
Yeah.
is going to probably eliminate one from playoff contention for the most
Yeah.
part.
There's going to
That
be a team
is
with a winning
bad.
record that's going to miss out on playoffs when you have the sad sack NFC North putting out a team that's probably going to be like 7-9. That's going to piss them off. So, Now from the standings, what we'll do is have to come back and revisit kind of the playoff picture here in our next iteration, and then we're going to jump over into the stats and check out the league lead of total offensive yards, which goes to the Panthers, which that's JJ. And he
That is
is sitting there at 2,200 yards, which truly the top, like, what, top four, all nearly at 2,000 yards. So it's not like a huge, dramatic jump, but they're definitely leading the league as far as that goes. The Panthers been putting up points, and I was surprised to see them deal McCaffrey. I think that was more of a cap issue than anything, because he was putting in work with McCaffrey and then Cam as well. So, obviously that's why they're leading the league in offensive yards, with the Giants just barely behind them. I mean, it's not by much because
Oh,
who's their quarterback there in the Giants?
the quarterback for the Giants. He's having an MVP year. Brett
Indeed,
Gibson
he
is
is.
his name, and he's got 14 touchdowns and only one pick.
That is
And
a crazy
that's
good
incredible.
ratio right there in a game where people are throwing multiple picks in a game. He's got one in what 5 weeks,
5 weeks, yeah. Six. 6 weeks.
6 weeks now.
I think they had a bye week though, so 5 games.
And then of course you have the Bengals there, which is tanking for Taco. 2,100 yards, and really to put it in perspective, like the fact that, or no, he's sitting at 2,035. Taco has been force feeding CD, and Brissett is in everybody's, well, should be in everybody's fantasy lineup. I know he's in a lot of mines, and he's only got 2,035 yards. I mean, so the Panthers really doing work there, staying above him.
Yeah.
And
Panthers
then,
with a better balance.
yeah, I think you're right. I think they're doing quite a bit more running than the Bengals, who are throwing quite a bit. And then, as far as passing yards, the Cowboys are just absolutely crushing it. Let's see here. They are at 1,838 yards right now. I mean, that's nearly 400 yards more than the Bengals right now.
The next closest, yeah.
Yeah, and that's Khalil Tate, 2,000 yards, 20 TDs, league leader. And what's bizarre about that, I was looking at Tate. His throw power is like 83 or 84.
Oh wow, really? Well, I know
Yeah.
he's a scrambling quarterback out of Arizona.
I mean, like, so who is he beating up on that he's getting these crazy amounts of yards with 83 and 84 throw power?
He might be throwing some nice middle routes.
I guess maybe getting run after the catch or something. Like,
Yeah, getting some rack going on.
I mean, that's I would say that's pretty impressive because that's not an easy thing to do. People in Madden tend to go with that 90 plus throw power, so he's doing something right and he's killing it right now. Then
He's
we
also
can.
killing it in interceptions. He's thrown a bunch.
Oh, is he? How many interceptions does he have?
12.
12. How many TDs does he have?
20. Khalil Tate's got
20 and 12.
I'll go over him more when we do the MVP thing.
Gotcha. Then we can look at the rushing leaders, which no surprise to anyone. You got Saquon Barkley and the Giants at 1,000. This is a lot closer than maybe the passing leaders were, because you got the Ravens at 905, but I assume that's a lot of Lamar Jackson in there.
That is a lot of Lamar. Lamar mixed with Ingram, I think.
Yeah, and then
Or
you got
whoever he's got running the ball.
the Broncos there at 805 and the Panthers at 803, but Barkley's been just killing it lately. Definitely just doing work, but super close. And then the other thing that I was looking at while I was doing this was the Giants' points per game is tops of the league at 43.8, and you have the next closest 10 points behind, which is the Bills. Quietly, the Bills, another name that's escaping me here. Sorry. I'll have to pull that one up. I have to pull that one up real quick. The Bills is Chunk.
Chunk.
and they're saying they can barely hear you. Have you fixed that, Greg?
Hmm? Yeah,
Uh,
yeah, that was a long time ago.
okay, yeah. So, and briefly, since I was on Discord here, we got the Lions saying last year he had 1,400 with Johnson. Who was Johnson?
Curry on?
Oh, Carry on Johnson. Hmm, interesting. But yeah, the so you got not Taco. Who's the Bills again? Chunk.
Chunk, yep.
Chunk at 34, quietly too. I mean, he's kind of the one guy that kind of sits below the radar a
Mm-hmm.
lot. But obviously he's doing well.
Him and Sib are battling for
Yeah,
that for that
for
AFC
sure.
East.
And then the other part that I realized while I was going through these stats is the Giants, as far as having the 43.8 points per game, their third down conversion is sitting at like 65%. So
Oh man,
they
yeah,
keep their drives
66.
alive like crazy. So they're doing something right in New York.
My third down conversion is always trash. Oh, it's not terrible.
Well, since you brought it up, this is an odd stat that I came across, which is red zone efficiency. You should be proud. You lead the league in 100% red zone efficiency. 7 attempts, 5 TDs, 2 field goals. The odd part of that is, if you sort by attempts, the Cowboys have 25 attempts. So you don't necessarily make it to the red zone that often. So does that mean, like, when you?
Big play touchdowns.
That's what I was gonna say. You get big play touchdowns versus sustained drive touchdowns,
Yeah,
which is interesting
mostly.
because that's kind of opposite your true play style.
It is.
Typically, you're like a grinder. You motor down and then you score that touchdown. But I saw that 7 attempts, and I'm like, this makes zero sense. I mean, and look at this: the Giants, 22 attempts, 95% of the time they're in the red zone, they score.
Yeah, that's a
So
lot. That's
Big
good.
Atismo is doing the Lord's work in the red zone at 95%.
Check out the defensive red zone efficiency.
Defense of red zone efficiency. Is that yours? Is that why you want me to look? Oh, wait,
Ah, no,
no.
not tops.
So it's the Cardinals? I'm not entirely sure what to make of that stat.
No,
Is
the
that
defensive percentage. You want to look at the percentage, how
I'm
often someone is scoring.
okay? That's what that is. Okay, yeah, because that's what I'm sorting by.
So yeah, the lower the percent, the better. The
Gotcha.
Seahawks are sitting at
Seahawks at
50%.
50. Okay,
So that means when someone gets in the red zone against Seahawks, they've only scored 50% of the time.
that is solid.
And he's only allowed 6 times has someone been in the red zone. So yeah, I mean he's talk about doing the Lord's work on defense.
Yeah, no
That's the
doubt.
Seahawks.
Yeah, I mean, because you got 13, 16, and it goes up from there, percentage points difference. So
Hmm.
yeah, he's got a solid defense for sure. And then let's see, what was I looking at here? So I guess real quickly, we have the defensive side of things that I was checking out. Um, you have, let's see, passing yards allowed. This I thought was interesting. Is Rebel as a Chiefs has only allowed 488 passing yards. Like that is a
Sacks. That's why.
monster stat. Yeah, absolutely. Fletcher Cox having a year at like 33 sacks. No, not he doesn't have. They have 33
He has
sacks.
18,
He
I
has
believe,
18 of those 33.
and he's only played 6 games. That's 3 sacks a game.
Yeah, the
He's
dude
on
is.
pace for a ton. I don't even want to do the math on it. I'm afraid I think he'd crack 50, or at least
I mean,
close.
that is the no-fly zone of pass defenses right there. For
He
context,
would.
you have the Giants. I won't use the Eagles as a reference because they didn't have an owner for 4 weeks. But the Giants are giving up 1,384 yards in passing defense. So you're talking a third of the offense through the air for the Chiefs.
Yeah.
Um, but I got a lot more stats here that we could go over. But I feel like we could kind of jump into the MVP race since we kind of touched on some of those players' stats. If you want to jump on into that,
Sure.
Greg.
Sure, definitely. Okay, so I need to make this absolutely clear. First off, that this is not necessarily the game's MVP, award race. It's more or less what I'm taking from it. I don't want to just hand the MVP to somebody who's got a ton of passing yards and a ton of passing touchdowns. I want to look at how effective they're being for their team. Not turning the ball over if it's an offensive player, or how many turnovers forced or sacks. Tackles for losses, stuff like that on the defensive side. So I picked 5 players from each side of the ball,
Mm-hmm.
and I don't really have them in any order. It's just 5 players to watch since it's only week 6.
Sure.
So let's start on the offensive side, and I'll start with number 5. I've got Cam Newton, who is the Panther for JJ's Panthers,
Mm-hmm.
and he's got 12 touchdowns, 5 interceptions. I didn't list his passing yards. I know he doesn't have a ton of them, but he's one of those players where he isn't making a ton of mistakes for his team. It's resulting in his team winning. His team is 6-0. So I mean, you've got to throw him in there because I
Absolutely.
mean, half of winning the MVP is how well your team is playing.
For sure.
You don't see teams that are 6-10 with a player winning the MVP. It's usually
Yeah.
from a team that's in the playoffs.
Absolutely.
The number 4 for me on the offensive side is the Bengals wide receiver, CeeDee Lamb, and he actually leads the league with 800 yards receiving and 11 touchdowns.
Yeah. Bengals is force
And
feeding CD right now.
yeah, and from what I can tell, I mean, he doesn't have. I don't think I saw any fumbles, so he isn't turning the ball over or making any reckless plays, trying to, extend the play out. So I mean, there's not much else to say besides he's leading the league in touchdowns and receiving yards.
For sure.
Number 3 is this one should be no surprise to anybody. Saquon Barkley. Um, the dude is head and shoulders above everybody else in the league in rush yards. He's got 936 rushing yards.
Just
He
on
has
his
10
own. So, because
just
we
on his
looked
own.
at as we were looking at those rush stats, I mean, it was 1,006.
Yep,
Yeah.
and he's got 934.
Yeah. So he's killing
He's got more, just him, than every other team has total.
it.
It's crazy.
Since we're on that, I'm gonna go look at the Ravens real quick because they're second in total rushing yards, and I want
To
to see
go
how.
along with that, Saquon has 10 touchdowns, and he's averaging 10 yards per carry.
Jesus.
He leads
Because
the league in all of those stats.
right now Lamar Jackson has half of the Ravens rushing totals at
He's
450.
probably mixed it up with Ingram and a few other people too.
Yeah, he's got Matt Breida at 455 with 5
Oh,
TDs
there
for
you go.
context. So you're saying Saquon's got 10 on his own,
10 touchdowns
and
on his
Breida
own.
has 5.
It's
So
crazy.
yeah,
Saquon's
Saquon. I mean,
having a.
another
He
one
very well could
where
be my number 1.
Autismo is definitely force feeding Saquon. I think he made a statement earlier today that his offense is basically throwing to Saquon and running with Saquon. So, pro tip: anybody who plays the Giants, maybe find out where Saquon is.
I didn't even check his receiving yards, and I'm not going to because I'm not going to add anything else out of that. Number 2 on offense is Khalil Tate, who we kind of went over already. He leads the league in passing yards and in passing touchdowns. He's the only player over 2,000 passing yards, and he's got 20 passing touchdowns through 6 games. So
Yeah,
he's throwing between 3 and 4 touchdowns a game.
yeah, he's killing it for sure.
The
Another guy that
the
should
only
be
thing
a
that
starting
probably
quarterback for your fantasy team.
fantasy team, yeah. The only thing that keeps me from putting him at 1 is that he's thrown 12 interceptions, which is too many.
Yeah,
Um, Number 1 for offense, we already mentioned him as well, is Brett Gibson for the Giants. He's got 14 touchdowns and only 1 pick. He doesn't have a ton of yards, but what makes me put him at number 1 is that he's not turning the ball over at all. I mean, that helps you win games, and the team he's playing on is undefeated right now. So, I mean,
right on.
that's how it's done.
Yeah, I
He's
don't see an issue with any
Autismo.
of those. Yeah, Autismo.
He's playing really well with the Giants, and give him his due. He's got 2 of the top 3.
That's actually kind of sick. Yeah, he's got 2 of the top 3. That's messed up. So then that would bring us to the defense side of the ball here.
Defensive side, yeah. So these are actually in no particular order. The offense was kind of in a 5-to-1 order, but the defense is so crazy with different stats you can include that it's in no particular order. So I'll just start. Montez Sweat is one of them. He's got 28 tackles. He's got 6 tackles for loss, 12 sacks, which is second in the league. He also
Jeez.
has an interception and a touchdown.
And which team is he on?
Sweat is a Redskin.
I was gonna say I
He's
thought he
playing for
was a
Danny.
Redskin.
He's
So
playing for
Danny
Danny, doing
is
work.
killing it with Sweat. Like that's crazy.
Yeah, he is absolutely Phil. He's a load in the stat sheet up. That guy
No
the
doubt.
guy in the game should be running for defensive MVP, at least on the NFC side.
Absolutely.
Another one is Fletcher Cox, who we talked about already. Dude's got
Right.
18 and a half sacks.
Yeah,
That's
I
the only
watched.
stat that stands out. He doesn't have many tackles, no interceptions. He's not going to get any interceptions.
Yeah, I watched
Sack
Rebels
master.
game against the Broncos, and he was an absolute monster in that game. I think he had at least 3 sacks on his own. Um, yeah, I mean, he's obviously destroying at 18 and a half. I mean, I had a great year with Bosa, like year one, but since
Yeah,
then, I mean, I think Von Miller had a year last year. Now we got Fletcher Cox this year, which is interesting for a defensive interior lineman because
yeah, he's a
typically,
tackle.
yeah, he's a tackle. So like most of these sacks tend to come from those defensive end outside linebacker position, but for him to have 18 and a half, I'm like, what the hell?
Yeah, something's going on. Something's in the water in Kansas City.
No doubt.
Another one is a Bengals player, Jesse Bates. I think he's a free safety.
I believe
I'm
that's
not
right.
100% sure,
He's definitely a
but
safety.
yeah, he's got 5 picks and 29 tackles. He doesn't have any defensive touchdowns, but the 5 picks is the tops in the league right now, so I kind of have to throw him in there in
Wow.
MVP consideration.
Really
Five,
interesting.
it doesn't seem like a lot. Well,
It
so
doesn't.
that number can be skewed
It can
because,
be.
and I did not take the time to go through every single team and look at the defensive
Right.
stats of every single team. So I just kind of went based on what the league leads said.
Yeah, because it. Oh, I mean, I guess I'm on the Giants team, but yeah, I remember this from the first year when Penalty had a guy that had like 12 interceptions,
Yeah,
but it
that's
didn't
Bates.
show for some reason. Yeah, so that's what it's doing. It's showing us at 5 for Jesse Bates.
So yeah, I mean he's actually got a bunch of tackles too. He's close to the league lead in tackles. I think he's like maybe fourth or fifth. And then another guy is actually my guy, Mac Wilson.
Of course, you would put one of your own players in there.
He's got 39 tackles, 3 sacks, and an interception.
Which is, yeah,
He's the tackle leader in the NFL, which is why I'd put him in there for consideration. He's got the
sure.
most tackles in the NFL. So he doesn't lead the league in sacks or interceptions or anything like that, but just filling the stat sheet up.
Yeah, I mean, without a doubt, I mean that's gonna make a big impact. But for sure,
He's not even a highly rated player. He's just doing it for me. I'm using him.
oh well, that makes a lot
Working.
more sense. But man, I mean, for context, the fact that you used that player and then you got Montez Sweat for the Redskins, putting up those figures is kind of crazy because
Hmm.
he's having an amazing season.
Sweat's an OLB. Mac Wilson's he's a middle backer. So the
Gotcha.
sacks, I don't know where the sacks are coming from. I
I
usually don't bum rush my middle linebacker.
yeah.
So and then the last guy, who I said this is in no particular order, and it's not, but it would be my favorite to kind of win it. If I had to pick right now, this is probably who it would be. It'd be Bobby Wagner for
hmm
the Seahawks, who are actually leading the league in defense anyway. But check this stat line out. Okay, he's got 32 tackles. He's got 10 tackles for losses, which is tops in the NFL.
Jeez.
He's got 2 sacks. He's got 3 interceptions, and he's got 2 defensive touchdowns, which I believe is also tops in
Yeah.
the league.
Yeah, that's a monster stat line right there.
So like Montez Sweat is, the sacks are what are impressive about Sweat too, along with the
Yeah.
tackles.
Yeah,
But
absolutely.
Wagner is doing everything. Like he's got picks, he's got sacks, he's in the backfield. It seems like on almost every play. He's got 32 tackles. 1/3 of them are for tackles for losses. So I mean, the guy's everywhere. He's being a monster. Which in real life, I mean, he's a real life monster too. So
Yeah.
just doing great. Those are my 5 offensive and 5 defensive players.
I like it. I like it a lot. So let's see. A couple quick notes that I have on some of these stats. I gotta throw a couple barbs at my man Cy of the Cards. He is currently bottom of the league in yards at 677 total yards, averaging just 8.5 points per game, and that is second only to the Raiders, who actually have more points per game than he does at 8.8. So, but
What's
to be
up, Cy?
fair, he apparently has played everybody in his division at least 3 times. So his schedule should get a little better. His stats could unskew a touch. And then the Colts have the worst third down percentage at 25%, which is McGreatness. But still, like I said before, I think he's 3-3. So, um, you know, he's
UWG champ.
yeah. There we go. He's
You just beat Cy.
did he? There you go.
17-14.
Way to go, Cy. Guy with the worst third down percentage in the league just gave you the business. And then right behind him, we have the dumpster fire that is the Lions at 26% on his third down percentage. So,
Rolling all right.
yeah, rolling right off the cliff. O'Doyle rules. O'Doyle rules. So let's go ahead and go into Greg's hierarchy here to close things out.
Oh, sure. Yeah, my power rankings.
There we go.
So, like I said, every time, this is not 100% per se based on your record. This is based on, how I've noticed games gone, who you've played against,
Yeah.
and whatnot.
Yeah,
So,
without a doubt. I mean, who you play makes a big difference.
yeah. Number 10, I've got the Atlanta Falcons at, I believe they're 3-2.
I could check that out for you real quick,
Yeah, I might have to have you.
but I think that is correct.
Yep, 3-2. I'll sit on the standings if you want to sit on each team's schedule. You could talk about
Oh,
who
sure.
they played.
Yeah, absolutely. I'll go jump there. So we'll go take a look at the Falcons here. At 10, Falcons started out the season against the Giants, took the L, 35-7, which isn't a surprise considering the season that the Giants have had. Beat down the Buccaneers in a tight game, 34-20, and then beat the Packers, which is Joe. Lost to the Panthers, and then beat the Jets. So, kind of a mixed bag. Won the games he's supposed to win, and I would say, won a good game against the Jets. Seem fair?
Yeah, seems fair. And I mean, I have him at 10 for that reason.
Perfect.
He could obviously go up if he performs. Number 9, here we go. I have the Bengals at number 9.
The Bengals.
And,
He's going to be unhappy with you. I'm telling you right now.
I'd actually. So it's very confusing. He's
It
beaten me
is.
twice. So he's beaten me twice, right?
Mm-hmm.
He had the goal to lose to the goddamn Bears, though. Which
I see that.
spanked. It's just like
Yeah.
I haven't been able to tell if he's good or if he's just good against me,
Or just lucky.
and or just some form of.
I do play him next
I don't
week.
dislike the guy. I don't dislike the guy one bit. I cannot figure out. I'm stumped. So I have him in the top 10 for the reason that he's beaten me. He is 4-2. I don't even know who his other loss came to. It's
I'll tell you right now,
garbage
it's
team.
it's Joe of the Packers, and I ask you to take that back. Joe is a vet. He deserves way more respect than that. Joe, I have your back.
It just absolutely it baffles me. So maybe he's just not used to playing some of the guys in our league, and he's struggling trying to figure out how they play,
Yeah.
or maybe he's just delightfully average and his game plan works really well against me. I'm not
He
sure.
is delightfully average.
He made it to
I
the
like
Super
it.
Bowl, though.
I
mean, how
like
do you
it.
Make it to the Super Bowl, delightfully average. I don't.
So yes, he beat you, and then he
He
goes
is a
off.
conundrum.
He goes off
me.
to beat the Vikings afterwards, and then the Steelers, and then the dumpster fire of the Lions. So he plays me next week, and then he plays the Ravens, which is Mike, and back-to-back games after a bye week. Then the Texans, Steelers, Broncos, Jets, Browns, Chiefs, Raiders. So dude's got a tough division. or not division. He's got a tough schedule coming up. I would say, yeah. I mean, he's gonna have to
Man,
really
Taco, I didn't say you were average. I just can't figure out what you are. I can't figure.
delightfully average is the quote. That's what I have down here.
Yeah, I mean, I can't tell if he's delightfully average or if he's good and just struggling against teams he's never played against. I have no idea. Like I said, he is a
He is an
enigma.
enigma.
He's an enigma. Yeah, that's
Yes.
exactly what I was gonna say. Whew.
Oof,
Okay,
so
off the
number 8.
Bengals nuts here. Number 8, I've got, and he'll probably go higher throughout the year, but we'll see. I've got the Rams at number 8,
Right.
and it's because I've seen Flying Sky High play. He's 5-1 right now, and I know he just beat the Seahawks, who actually have way higher than him. But these rankings, I think, were done before he played.
Sure,
So,
and I mean, really, I mean, it's the first game, the first matchup that they've really had. I mean, Seahawks
yeah,
obviously a really high quality player, doesn't know who he's matched up against, and probably just goes in not really anticipating much. So I'm sure the second game will be a better metric by which to measure. He took a loss to the Jaguars. It's his only loss, which I'm trying to remember how many
so Sim.
games has Airflight been here for.
Oh yeah, that too. Yeah, I don't know if Rocky got a CPU force or what.
No, it was not a force. It was definitely played. I'm just trying to remember when Sky High came in. But I would assume he
Not
must have
sure.
came in at the beginning of the season. I think he
He was
did.
close to.
Yeah, I think he did because I mean he beats the Eagles, which we actually had a user for. It's that peanut chutter guy who bailed.
Hmm.
Then he beat the Bears and then loses to the Jags, beats the Cards, but everybody beats the Cards. And then beat the Titans, which is Slick Wills, who's another
Good
returning
user.
owner. Yep, good user. Close game. And then, like I said, beat the Seahawks.
Yeah, he's good. He'll probably end up climbing my rankings.
Yeah.
Number 7, I've got the Chiefs. So Rebel, I'm jinxing you again,
Really?
man. You're 5-1.
Really? You
I
got the
mean, look at
Chiefs in here again? Like,
yeah,
really?
yeah. I've got him at number 7. His points for 144. His points against 58. Big parity there. Big
Yeah.
disparity. Blah. I mean,
Yes.
he's playing good defense. He's playing solid offense. Not great
Well,
offense, but
over
solid
the
offense.
Thanksgiving holiday, him and I had a heart to heart, and we basically agreed that his defense is sound. It's his offense that's lacking, except for this past week when he put just the absolute hammer down on the Broncos. I think,
He scored like 45 points or something like
yeah,
that.
45 points. Devontae Adams had 4 TDs. I mean, it was ugly. I watched the game. Um, I just don't know if the Broncos just don't know how to adjust, but he continued to press Devontae Adams, and Devontae Adams just continued to beat him. I mean, he had Pierre Desir on him, 1-on-1, and it's not. I mean, Desir's tall, but he's not fast,
Hmm.
and he just got killed. So
It happens.
yeah, and I mean, the week before he beat the Raiders 33-7. I just don't know that his offense is that strong. I mean, I think that's the
Playing
Chiefs'
weak
weak.
teams.
Um, I mean, he's beaten the Broncos twice, and the Broncos aren't terrible. They're good. They're just I just don't think they adjust well.
Sounds
They
good.
lost to me in what was pretty fluky towards the end of the fourth quarter. I'm not gonna pretend that I beat him, but I felt like I had him boxed up for 3 quarters. He didn't really have much offense, which is kind of my read of him. And then I had a couple lucky plays at the end and wound up beating him 24-13. So I would expect to probably split with him, but he did beat Mike. I mean, and Mike, it's not like Mike's a slouch. I mean,
Yeah.
but
No,
a,
Mike's no slouch.
a 10-3 game, like I told him over Thanksgiving, I'm like, dude, I thought you were going to lose that game because it was 10-3 the majority of the game.
Hmm.
But anyhow, Chiefs at 7, I guess I'll allow it.
Number 6, I've got the Chargers.
Yay,
You,
Chargers!
yeah.
Woo!
Ooh, 4-1.
Yeah,
Your loss came to the Eagles,
new
beating
guy.
everybody else. Yeah.
Yep.
Those games are
Um,
always hard to read.
yeah, I mean, I definitely went into it. I felt comfortable in the game, but it was a tight one, and like I said, I made a bad mistake, and he's got a good user. Young Moolah definitely has a nice user, so I expect him to do well.
Yeah.
But I play Bengals, and then I play Rocky, and then I play the Bills, then the
That'll be a tough stretch.
Cowboys, Broncos, and then I play you week 13. Got that one circled on
That'll be a fun one. We
my
haven't
calendar.
played in like 2 Maddens, I don't
I
think.
think so.
Something like that. It's been a while.
And then I
That'll
got
be
the
really fun.
Ravens, which is Mike, and then I got Big Autismo.
You
Uh,
have a freaking schedule.
yeah, I actually do have a pretty rough schedule coming up, so and I got to
Hope
finish
you
out
make
the
the
year
playoffs.
against the Chiefs. I expect to make the playoffs. I am not worried.
Coming in at number 5 is the Browns. Myself, I'm sitting at 4-1. I lost to the Bengals. That's my loss
Mm-hmm.
by two points.
2 points.
Kicked, I believe he kicked. I don't know if he kicked a game-winning field goal with no time left, or if he kicked a game-winning field goal with like 20 seconds left or something, and I just couldn't get down the field. But yeah, I ended up losing that game. The teams I've beaten haven't been too impressive, but I beat the Mike
Yeah.
week 1. I lost to the Bengals week 2. Week 3 I beat either the Bears or the Raiders. The Raiders, and then week 4 I beat the Bears. So none of
Yeah.
my wins have been super impressive, but
I think I would
yeah,
say you get credit from the fact that last season you went what 15-0, 15-1 or 16-0,
16-0.
16-0. So
Lost to
obviously we know that you're a solid player, so I think you're definitely worthy of the 5 spot at least. But I do agree, like so far your schedule has not been exceptional, much like mine. You'll play the Steelers, the Vikings, the Lions. So you got, I mean, a cakewalk all the way to your bye week, and then you play the Chiefs, which I will be watching that game. Hopefully, want to commentate it. You play Mike, and then you play Rocky, and then you play myself, and then the Bills, and then the Bengals, and then finish with the Broncos, which I'm pretty sure by then he probably won't even play it because he'll be, shooting for that.
eliminated.
Yeah, he'll be looking for that high pick. But you do have a run of games. I mean, you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 games, weeks 11 through 15. You gotta run. So we'll see how you
It'll
wind
be
up.
fun. Yeah, it'll be fun. Okay, jumping into the big 4 here, which I'm certain we all can probably guess who most of them are. But number 4 is the Giants. I'd have him higher,
Mm-hmm.
but with last year how he didn't even make the playoffs or anything, I'm not sure. I'm not sure what's going on. I know he's undefeated right now. He leads the league in points. He does allow a lot of points though,
He
which
does.
I mean, if he runs into someone with a solid defense, I think if he runs into a penalty, he gets beat something like 17-3, something
Mm.
like that. But
Yeah,
I
looking at
mean,
his
just
record,
how good he is.
I mean, he beat the Falcons, who Jernigan's a solid owner, solid player. So he beat him 35-7. So he beat him pretty easily. And then he goes in, beats Peanut Chutter 42-24, and then just lambaste Danny 63-40. That game, I mean, that's probably the game that skews his defensive stats. I mean, he gave up 40 freaking points. I mean, that's bizarre.
Yeah,
And
he
then
scored 60. That's even more bizarre.
yeah, and then you have Jewel playing him pretty tough, 23-34, and then he does beat the Cowboys 45-23. So, I mean, if I'm looking at his record, the Cowboys would probably be the only win that I think is solid, and
Quality.
yeah, it's a quality win, and he beat him pretty bad. So he's going to have the Redskins, the Raiders, the Packers, the Broncos, who probably will mail it in by week 10,
We
and
have a
doesn't
pretty
play
easy
it.
schedule.
Yeah, he doesn't play a tough opponent until he plays in week 11, which is the Chiefs, then the Saints, then the Cowboys. I play him in week 15. He gets young Moolah in week 16, who might be playing for a wild card spot, and then plays the Panthers week 17. So the tail end of his schedule gets rough
Week 17 will be a game to watch. We should commentate that if we
for
remember.
sure.
That'd be a fun one. Okay, number 3, I've got the Seahawks.
No
I mean,
questions there.
he's
Yeah,
been solid ever since he started. He's lost one game. We found out it was to the Rams just this week.
right.
So I mean, there's not much else to be said. He's solid. He's good.
I
He
checked the
wins the
notes on
majority of
that
his
game,
games.
and it sounds like Todd Gurley had a day. So
I think
maybe
they both ran really well. I think they both ran for about 10 yards per carry.
maybe
Gurley
his
and
weakness is the
Carson.
run game.
He bottled me up pretty good when we played, but I mean, it was the first game against him.
Right.
The week he joined, I was begging you for a force
Oh,
win,
that's
and then
right. I
you're like,
remember
"Oh,
that.
I got a guy for you to play." Fuck.
Right.
And I regretted it in the end. But yeah, I mean, he's from what I can tell, he's a solid user in the best division in football. So number two is the
Mm-hmm.
Panthers. JJ gonna get some love. I know he was talking about it last year about how he won like 8 games straight or something like that, and not getting any love. So here you go, buddy. You're
Right.
in there at number two right now. You're 6-0. You've almost got 100 points more scored than you've allowed. So I mean, and you've won all your games. You're 6-0. So
Yeah, I
kudos
mean,
to you, man.
he's beat the Cowboys week one, 40-36. Looks like a tough game. Beats the Bills 24-21, which is a
Not a good game.
testament to the Bills because that's a 3-point game. That's a close game. Oh, except for no. It was played 3 times and it was set to a force win for the Panthers. So they must have got
Oh,
disconnected.
okay.
I actually think he was probably beating him down. But I could be wrong. Sorry, foreskin, chunky.
Beat
Like,
down.
you may not have been getting beat down, but this is just
We're
my
gonna
bad
assume it.
memory. Yeah, we're going to assume it. Falcons, he crushed. Jernigan gets wiped. But then the Saints come back, play him tough. Freshly baked buns, 17
Well,
to 10.
The Saints were the top seed in their division last year, weren't they? He was
Oh,
early.
yeah.
He was. So I mean, baked buns is good.
He is good.
That's a
So that
really
was
good
a tough
division.
game. Looking at his future schedule, you got the Patriots, then the Saints again, of course. Jewel, Seahawks, Jets, Young Moolah, Week 14, another must-win game for Moolah. The dumpster fire, the Lions, Jernigan, and then he finishes the year against the Giants. Another, I mean, man, there's some Week 17 games that need some commentary. That's all I'm saying.
Wow. The Giants, Panthers. Who was the other one?
Oh, gee, it was the Rams, I think. Um,
That's nuts.
no, it's not the Rams. It was the last one before that. I forget, but I'll have to look at some notes here. Was it Giants? Maybe it was Giants.
The Giants is who we talked about already. Giants, Panthers.
Yeah, Giants Panthers was the other one. Yeah. So we were on number two, the Panthers. That was just who we finished up.
And number one,
And who was
everybody
number
should
one?
know.
I don't
I
know.
shouldn't even say his name by now.
It's like ridiculous.
49ers penalty, number one in every single. Unprecedented. This is like my fourth power rankings. He's been number one on every single one of them. His spot has not changed. And for no reason should it. He's undefeated again.
Mm-hmm.
He's lost one game since we started our league, and he's won both Super Bowls. So I mean,
Yeah.
I'm done talking him up. Someone beat
Yeah,
this
I mean,
motherfucker.
just beat him. Like, what's funny is Coach actually got close at 20-26. He's the only one close, but he played the Saints week one, and then Cy rolled over, gave him the booty, 20-7. The Colts gave up the booty, 24-3. The Cowboys gave up the booty, 22-10. And then he plays Slick Wills, which could be an interesting game. He'll play Seahawks, obviously. Plays Rocky, but Rocky's a bum. Um, really, it comes down to his division. I mean, it's those interdivision games
hmm
because he's got the Texans, who is Mikey, and Mikey's having a rough go. I mean, yeah, he does not have a tough game outside of his division, outside of Mikey and Rocky.
Yeah. Well, his,
So,
his division makes up for it.
yeah. Yeah, absolutely. I guess if there's one saving grace is his division's hard enough that maybe maybe he takes a loss. And so this kind of leads me into my hot takes. I got 4 hot takes here. Number one would be the 49ers will not be the division winner this year.
Ooh,
That is my
that's
hot take.
that's boiling lava hot.
Yeah, that's yeah,
I
that's hot.
completely disagree with you.
That's the fun
I
thing about
know.
making hot takes, though. You don't have to be right. You just got to be interesting.
I know for I'm gonna say 98. I'm 98% sure that penalty does not put everything he's got into his games until if it, if it's really close and it's late, he's got another gear.
Yeah.
And I don't think the majority of the time that he goes into that gear, unless he absolutely has to. He's let's. I'm totally taking it off of like franchise mode right now. I'm going
Mm-hmm.
into MUT. I'm ranked in the top 600 right now
Mm-hmm.
in the Madden Championship Series, trying to qualify for it. I think if Penn wanted to, I mean, a few years ago he qualified. He played in the 49ers club championship.
Did he
He's
really?
that good. He is
Wow.
that good. I mean, he was not like televised or anything, not like in
Right.
front of
No.
PA, but he made it. And I think he placed, I think maybe top 10, top 15, something like that. But
Jeez.
yeah, he has a whole nother gear, and I don't think he ever goes to it. I think he could probably fucking stomp us all if he wanted to.
Yeah.
But
Well, Penalty's a player that I have a ton of respect for because he's really, really good, but he respects what we try to do here. Like he
yeah,
does, like because what you're describing is in MUT, you have to be able to play to win and basically disregard any semblance of like
mm-hmm,
fair play rules. I mean, and he
yep.
understands how to do it, but he doesn't do it here. He
I mean,
knows.
he'll be up 14 or 17 points on somebody, and he'll take his starters out, and he'll run backups. He's the
Yeah,
only player I know to do that,
yeah,
to actually legitimately run
yeah,
backups for
and
like
so
an entire half of a game.
yeah, I mean, he is legitimately a solid player and a great quality player for the league. Somebody that leads by example, I would say. Um,
Hmm.
and yeah, he definitely has that other gear. And he did play the Bengals in the Super Bowl, and it was a super tight game, which made me feel good too because I played the Bengals really tough in my one matchup against him, never playing the guy, and
Hmm.
lost I think by 4 or whatever it was. But it was a close game, and then to watch penalty back-to-back Super Bowl champions barely squeak out a win against him made me feel pretty good about myself.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, what are we gonna say? Penalty's good. The grass
Sorry
is
to shit on your
green.
hot take there.
Yeah, I know, right? No, I know, but like I said, the division is tough. So my hot take is he will not be the division winner this year. Um, Cowboys will miss the playoffs.
Oof. And you know what? I might agree with you there. If Ostismo continues to play like he is, and
Mm-hmm.
if the Eagles are as good as they looked against you,
Sure.
I could see it. I could see it.
Yeah, and I mean, and now that we have like three hyper competitive teams in what is that, the NFC West? Is that's the
Yeah.
49ers division? Yeah.
Yep.
I mean, I'm going to say right now that both wild cards come from that division, and in doing so costs Cowboys his wild card spot. So
Both
that's
wild cards? No, no,
yes.
no, no. You're shitting on me right now. There is no. There's. I believe that the Cowboys, like I believe your hot take. Yeah, they might
Mhm.
not make the playoffs. They most likely actually won't. But there's no way that both of those wild cards come from there because I think the Saints and Panthers are
Both make
too
the
good in
playoffs.
their division. I think they both make the
I
playoffs.
guess
So
so.
I think it'll be.
Inadvertently, I have another hot take, which is that one of those teams isn't going to make the playoffs, and it would probably have to be the Saints.
Yeah, I mean, the Saints would have to lose. What's the Saints record right now? I need to look. I'm looking right now.
Are you?
Oh, does he have 2 losses already?
He's not doing great.
Where's he at?
Yeah, he lost two, so he's lost to the 49ers and the Panthers. Quality losses.
Very quality. One
Yeah,
and two on my power rankings.
yeah. Um,
uh, who's he play?
he's going to play the Dolphins week 7, the Falcons week 8, Panthers, Eagles, Redskins, Giants, Falcons, Bears, Bucks, Cowboys, Jets.
I see him losing 4 games.
Look at you.
Two
Yeah,
more
so
games. I mean,
I mean, without going super long into this kind of whole schedule here, I mean, because we'd have to go look at the Seahawks schedule, the Niners schedule, and the Rams schedule to kind of compare. Um, but yeah, so Cowboys missed the playoffs. We'll just leave it there.
you just this is some talking material right here.
I know, right? And then you got the Bears that are going to win the division. Jordan Benson going to win this division this year as the
You know
Bears.
what?
What's that?
I'll agree with that. I agree with you.
So
He
it's
played
not
me
that hot
tough.
of a take? Is that what you're telling me?
That division is so bad. That he played me tough. Like, I know I won 21-7 on paper. It doesn't look too terribly close, 14 points. But if I remember right, I don't know if we were tied at halftime or if I was up 14-7. But his defense was good. His offense, he moved the ball. I think he just turned the ball over a little bit too much. If he could have turned
Yeah.
his turnovers into points, he could have beaten me.
So no, I don't think I'm too far off then. And then Jags aren't going to make the playoffs this year. That's my last hot take.
Yeah, Rocky's trash.
Yeah. I'm going to have to
Him or the
tag Rocky
Texans?
right now.
I mean, it's easily either him or the Texans are making it. It's whoever decides to show up to play their games.
What's funny, though, is Rocky has always, like, for the past 5 years, guys, Rocky has been so active in chat. He's always, like, talking up a storm, but has he been silent or what?
Yeah, he hasn't been around.
Like, he blew up a couple times because he was losing games and he was getting all butt hurt, and he's just been quiet. It's all
Him and
been
Mike
quiet.
always talk trash.
Oh, I
The
know.
last 3 years now they've been at each other's nuts.
So I'm calling it now. Rocky Watch 2019.
Suicide watch.
So I will say that that should wrap up the podcast. I think we're pretty much touched on everything. You got anything left to add?
I don't think so, man. We've been at this over an hour now, so
Man, it actually kind of flew by.
it did. It went fast.
So I'm glad we got to touch on everything. So I guess we'll call it a show right there, guys. It's a wrap.